Well, peace and wellness, family. Peace and wellness. I hope that y'all are well and happy and whole and all that good stuff. Hey, wellness community, butterflies in the sky. I see y'all looking beautiful. Hey, Queen Beijing. Hey, Chi Chi girl. Shout out to Deja, who is currently at the GYN getting that poom poom check. Okay, come on, womb wellness. We believe in it. We align with it. Come on, womb wellness. Shout out to Deja. Hey, Lewis. Hey, Nikki. I love y'all so much for this community, always showing up and showing out. But family, let's get right into it. Okay, so I wanted to come before y'all today, and the intentions of this video is to discuss Venus in Leo retrograde. Tomorrow, July 22nd, is Venus in Leo retrograde. It begins, okay, and it lasts until September 3rd when it stations direct. Now, my intentions for this video is to discuss what does that even mean? What does it mean for Venus to be in Leo and for it to be retrograde? How may it impact our energy? And what are some things that we can do in order to utilize this energy for our wellness, family? Because something that's important for me, and which is one of the reasons why I love discussing the planetary alignments, is because I believe in, you know, we are alchemists. We are all alchemists. We all have the ability to change and transmute energy and change and transmute anything for our wellness if we are aware of it, if we are aware of our power, if we are aware of what's going on, if we step in awareness, right? We practice, we live, we dwell in awareness. We have the ability to change and transmute anything for our wellness. And I love discussing, even the planetary alignments that's kind of scare some folks, like retrogrades and a variety of other things, that kind of put a little bit of fear in people, because the fear is, of course, the false evidence of whatever the acronym is, but a false evidence appearing real, and when we believe in these things, when we believe in this false evidence appearing real, and we believe that these things are here to hurt us and harm us, that is what will be. But if we are aware of what's happening and we are aware of how to utilize this energy for our wellness, that is what will be. What will be is our wellness. Our wellness will always prevail. So my intentions is to discuss how we can utilize this energy for our wellness, okay? And just a little health and wellness update, all right? Just a little health and wellness update. Y'all know I was diagnosed with strep and vid de la co about a week ago now. It was a week ago today, actually, and I'm feeling much better. Y'all see my voice is still a little different. Only thing that's left is I still have like a residual cough and some congestion, but we're working through that. Things are a lot more improved. I'm about 85% back to my full energy self. Okay, so I just wanted to share that little that little wellness check-in update with y'all, and thank y'all for everybody who was sending me well wishes and who was praying for me and all of that stuff. And y'all just continue to be safe. Okay, continue to be safe out there. Now, let's just get right into it, family. So first, let's discuss Venus. Let's discuss Venus. Venus is our planet of love, of pleasure, of romance, and all things beautiful and sweet and loving. Venus is very much, and it embodies a lot of our divine feminine energy, that nurturing energy, that romantic energy, that alluring energy. That's the Venus energy. But also it deals with money and abundance, a lot of tangible abundance and abundance energy as well. And not last but not least, of course, beauty, dealing in beauty in all things, again, just that divine feminine aspect, that beauty, that physical beauty, that inner beauty as well, and that just alluring and sultriness of it all. Okay, so when we talk about our planet of Venus, these are the areas of our life that we're speaking of, right? We're speaking of relationships, and not just romantic partners, definitely romantic partners, but relationships of all sorts. We're speaking of beauty, and not just physical beauty, but also inner beauty. We're talking about self-esteem. We're talking about confidence. That's what we mean when we're talking about Venus energy, right? And then, of course, as I said, abundance, right? Our abundance, which of course affects our manifestation. And The reason Venus in Leo retrograde is important to note is because we have a big day of manifestation coming up on 8/8, which is known as the Lionsgate portal. Okay, and I'll touch on that a little later. But that's why it's important to know that Venus is in retrograde so we can know how to manifest on that day and how to work with this energy for our wellness, our manifestation wellness. Okay, but again, when we talk about Venus, those are all of the things that we are speaking of. Now, Venus is in Leo. Leo is a fixed fire sign. I love Leo energy because Leo is all about passion. It's all about self-assurance. It's all about confidence. It's all about, being strong and having that strength, that boss energy. I always say that big boss energy. That's Leo energy. So when it comes to Venus being in Leo, our areas like relationships, finances, abundance as a whole, our beauty, our confidence is up there. We're taking charge, we're prospering in those areas. You're seeing a lot of abundance energy in your relationship areas. A lot of potential suitors. If you're single, a lot of potential suitors coming up. A lot of assurance in your love life. If you're in a relationship, a lot of prosperity in your relationships, a lot of new agreements potentially, a lot of elevation in the relationship when Venus is direct in Leo. These are some things you are experiencing. A lot of elevation in finances and abundance. The budget is budgeting well. You're finding a little bit of extra money in places you ain't know you had it. New job opportunities, new ways to gain revenue, an increase in entrepreneurship. All of these things are occurring when Venus is direct in Leo. And again, dealing a lot in leadership, right? Because that's what Leo energy is about. And these things are steady and stable. Okay. This abundance, this elevation is consistent because that's what Leo is about as well. It's about consistency. Now, here's the thing, right? When a planet when a planet goes into retrograde is the illusion that a planet is moving backwards. It's the illusion that something is moving backwards, in this case specifically Venus, right? Now, most planets, like the most common retrograde that's known as Mercury in retrograde, right? That's the most common retrograde known. And Mercury, our planet of communication and agreements, goes retrograde about 3 or 4 times a year, so it's very common. Venus only goes retrograde about every year and a half or so, right? So about every year and a half, every 18 months, Venus goes retrograde. So it's not common that we experience this retrograde energy where those areas of our life may start to feel stagnant or maybe even may feel like it's kind of reverting and moving backwards, okay? And we'll get more into that. But that's what happens when the planet goes into retrograde. It's the illusion that the planet is moving backwards. So it's an illusion that all of the great things that planet is associated with is reverting or moving backwards, okay? But that's not the only thing a retrograde is. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it isn't. Sometimes things may feel like they're moving backwards. Sometimes things may seem like they're reversing. Sometimes your prosperity may seem like it's decreasing. It may seem like your relationship is out of whack. But as I always tell y'all, especially when I talk about Mercury being in retrograde, don't forget the key part is the illusion. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. And this is why, in the description of this video, I said, you may be tested. And I always see these periods of retrogrades as little periods of tests to see where you truly stand. Are you really who you say you are? Do you really practice what you say you practice? Do you have the faith that you claim you have? Do you have the belief that you think you got? That's what these periods of retrograde are. So when you have the illusion of these tests coming up, when you have the illusion of these decreases, the illusion of things reverting, I want you to remember that this is an illusion. And what is true is that my wellness is guaranteed. What is true is that I am abundant with great things. What is true is that I am protected. What is true is that I am well. So, in the midst of any retrograde, always remember what is true. The retrograde is the illusion. The truth is that your wellness is guaranteed. And that is what you want to keep at the forefront of this time period, okay, family? So Venus in Leo retrograde overall, essentially what it looks like and what it means is that Venus, which is in Leo, where all of these beautiful things, this elevation of abundance, this elevation of confidence, this elevation of your relationships, all of these things, while Venus in Leo is in retrograde, it may seem like some of those areas of your life are reverting. Some of those areas of your life are moving backward. Some of those areas of your life are decreasing. They're being challenged in a variety of ways. That's what it may seem like. That's the illusion. That's the test. But I always say the battle is won when the tests become fun. It honestly becomes a bit enjoyable because you see it coming. You know it's coming. And now we have this video, we're talking about this. So you are in the awareness that this energy is present. The battle is fun. The battle is won when the tests become fun. When you can look and see, you see a little challenge coming up in a relationship, you're like, I know what this is. I know what this is. Let me go ahead and get ready. I already see what's going on here. It's a little challenge coming up in the career area, a little challenge coming up in your abundance and your finances. I know what this is. I already see it. I already know what this is. I know what's going on. The battle is won when the tests become fun. Y'all are already aware of potential tests that are coming up. Now let's talk about what those tests may look like and how this may impact our energy, okay? Now, we already discussed, all of the various areas of life where Venus is over. Something that's going to be important for y'all to do is to check your Leo placements and also check your Venus placement in your natal chart. Okay, check your Leo placements and check your Venus placements. In areas of your natal chart where Leo is placed, it's going to be important to pay attention to your abundance in those areas, your relationships in those areas, as well as your confidence in those areas, because that is where you will be tested in those specific areas. Okay, so look at your Leo placements in your natal chart. And then I also want you to look at your Venus placement, okay, because you will also be tested in the areas of your Venus placement as well. Okay, so that's going to be important. Now, in the very beginning of this retrograde, I got to tell y'all that Mercury is currently in Leo. Mercury is our planet of communication, our planet of agreements, okay, our planet of contractual agreements, right? With Mercury being in Leo and Venus being in Leo retrograde, it's important to note that, a lot of the challenges in relationships, and when I say relationships, again, it's not just romantic relationships, but challenges in relationships with family and friends, co-workers. A lot of us will be challenged in the area of communication. A lot of us will be challenged in the areas of agreements, which can look like your boundaries being tested during this time. Okay, so that's where you will see a lot of the challenge in the beginning. That's where you will see a lot of tests in the beginning. So don't be surprised if you find yourself getting into random disagreements, or you find yourself interacting with folks and they just seem to be disagreeable. They're not trying to find a middle ground. They're being steadfast in their thoughts and their opinions, their ideas, their concepts. They want to challenge, they want to argue. Don't be surprised. And the way you handle that is you are aware. You are aware of what's going on. You are aware of why the challenge, may be present right now. And the battle is won when the tests become fun. When you can look and you're having a conversation and you can say, okay, this is getting a bit disagreeable now. It's becoming a bit argumentative. Let me step back. Let me step into my higher self and choose wellness. I'm going to choose wellness. And whatever that may look like for you, choosing wellness may look like walking away. Choosing wellness may look like, choosing to agree or just agreeing to disagree. Choosing wellness may look a variety of ways for different people, but what you do is you choose wellness. That's how you respond to that. That's how you handle that. You choose wellness, okay? Now, with that Mercury being in Leo, agreements when it comes to finances, agreements when it comes to money. You don't want to get into any serious contractual agreements right now, any serious financial agreements right now. This is not the time for that. And Mercury will transition out of Leo on July 28th. It'll transition into Virgo, okay? Now, which can be a good thing, okay? Because now communication will be a bit more direct. The big communication will be a bit more grounded in reality, okay? So that will be a good thing. But while Mercury is in Leo up until July 28th, you want to be very mindful about, making agreements like loaning folks money. Okay, don't expect nothing back. If you loan money now, between now and July 28th, don't really expect it back. Don't expect folks to really uphold their financial agreements and things like that to you or with you. Don't do that. Right now is not the time to put those types of expectations on agreements, especially when it comes to financial agreements, career agreements, and things like that. If you are in a position where you have to, I know somebody said they're getting a new job. If you are in a position where you have to make a financial agreement, a contractual agreement, you want to just be very mindful of reading the fine print, very mindful of negotiating your salary. Negotiate your salary during this time. Okay, this is not the time to take the first number or even the second number. This is the time to really make sure that you are getting what you are supposed to get. And I find it so interesting as well that right now you notice that the writer's strike is going on, the actor's strike is going on, and really a lot of it comes down to the financial disagreement. Right? So look how the universal energy is aligned. Look how it's playing out where they can't come to an agreement. And some folks are saying, Hollywood is over, Hollywood is done, because there's no way that either side is going to agree to disagree. Right now, it's not the time for that. Between now and July 28th, there probably won't be any type of agreement that will be reached between either party. And there shouldn't be, because it's not aligned. It's not in alignment right now. So any agreement that is met during this time would not necessarily be centered in wellness. Both parties right now need to kind of be steadfast in where they are. And they kind of just need to really negotiate within themselves what they really want and continue to have discussions and kind of wait this period out. And that's the same thing you should do. So if you are in a position where you got a new job coming up or you have a big opportunity coming up, definitely stand in your position. Be mindful about what you want. This is not the time to make any compromises outside of your wellness. Okay, don't just kind of agree to disagree and say, okay, I'll just take that number or I'll just make that agreement, because in the long term you will not be happy with it. So if you are going to make an agreement, you need to really be sure that you are getting what it is that you truly, deeply desire. Transmute that energy for your wellness. But I would advise that if you can, hold off until after the 28th, okay? If you can hold off until after the 28th, because that will be a better time when that Mercury transitions into Virgo. That'll be a better time to kind of make that agreement, okay? So that's just a couple of ways where you may be challenged with this Venus in Leo retrograde, especially with that conjunction of Mercury being in Leo. Okay, you need to be mindful of that. Now, something else that I want y'all to be mindful of during this time, and this is for the entire Venus in Leo retrograde period, which again goes from July 22nd until September 3rd. Something I want y'all to be mindful of. Retrograde brings a lot of revisitation, rehashing, us rethinking previous decisions, previous agreements, previous relationships. Okay. Don't be surprised if you find yourself kind of having moments of contemplating previous decisions you made in your past. Don't be surprised if you find yourself having a little bit of regret coming up. And I want you to be gentle with yourself during that time, okay? This is my thing. This is my philosophy on regret. I know a lot of people say you should live without regrets. You should live without regrets. I truly believe that having some regrets is natural. It's a natural part of your process of thinking and healing. When you think of your past, when you think about decisions you made, think about old relationships, especially for folks who have been through deep, deep, deep trauma, especially in adulthood. It's natural to have some regret as you move through your healing process. But again, we transmute that energy for our wellness. How can you turn that regret into a lesson? How can you turn that regret into a lesson? So as you revisit your past, as you kind of rehash old decisions and relationships and things like that, Don't push away that regret. Don't reject that regret. Embrace it and ask, what is the lesson? What is the lesson that I have learned from this? How can I transmute this regret into a powerful lesson that I apply to my life? Okay, and that I continue to implement moving forward. Okay, that is how we transmute that energy of regret. Okay, so I often find that, again, folks kind of reject their true feelings, which is, if your true feelings is that you regret a decision you made, that's okay. If your true feelings is that you wish you would have done something different, that is okay. But how can we transmute that energy to a lesson that can be applied and that you can also move forward and teach others so that they don't make the same mistakes that you have made? Okay, each one teach one. All right. Now, speaking of revisiting, Venus in Leo retrograde, you may also have some revisitations of relationships and exes and family members and friends that you have cut off from the past. So between now and the 20 and excuse me, September 3rd, don't be surprised if exes start popping back up, people that you used to be connected to back in the day, high school or college, grade school, start popping back up, old friends, old family relationships, all of that. Don't be surprised. Okay, that's natural during this Venus retrograde time period. But the thing is, you don't want to move forward into making any hasty decisions. Okay, this is not the time where you want to agree to get back into a relationship with an ex. This is not the time where you want to agree to becoming friends again with that friend that you cut off back in the day. This is not the time where you want to agree to inviting that family member over for Thanksgiving that you cut off years ago because they weren't conducive to your wellness. This is not the time. Now, you don't have to reject them. You can have a conversation, that you can be cordial, y'all can have discussions, but it's not the time to make any serious decisions with anybody from your past who pops back up. Okay, don't make any serious decisions. And speaking of making serious decisions, within your love life as a whole, especially, as I said, especially for folks who are in relationships, this is not the time to make any serious decisions when it comes to like ending a relationship either, because as I spoke on previously, your relationships of all sorts, romantic, friends, family, co-workers, your relationships will be tested. Okay, especially right now until the 28th, in the area of communication, your relationship will be tested. This is not the time to make any serious decisions like breaking up, divorcing, leaving somebody, cutting somebody off permanently. You may want to take a step back. Maybe you could take a short break, but this is not the time to really dwell in the energy of heartbreak, because honestly, that's what Venus retrograde is known for. Venus retrograde is known for leaving a lot of broken hearts in its wake. Okay, and again, we want to utilize this energy for our wellness, so we don't have to contribute to that narrative. You are aware of what's going on. You are aware of the areas that you are being tested in. Ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? Ask yourself, how can I show up as my highest self in the midst of this test? Ask yourself those questions, but this is not the time to make a serious decision. I see somebody said that this has been happening all month. Absolutely, with people from the past popping up. And that's because of the shadow period. So the Venus in retrograde shadow period began July 14th and it will last up until about September 20th. Okay, so that shadow period is going to last a long time. So really, you will have already been feeling this energy, and you will continue to feel this energy even after Venus goes direct on the 3rd, because there is a pre and a post shadow period. So some of y'all may already be experiencing this, but again, you don't want to make any serious decisions at this time, because it is all a test, and the test is really internal. It's not an external thing. So anything that happens right now in your relationships, anything that happens in your career, anything that happens with your abundance right now between now and September 3rd, and again, retrograde officially starts the 22nd, so tomorrow, but between now and September 3rd, this is really not the time where you want to look at the external. Ask yourself, how is this testing me to show up as my highest self? That's what you want to ask yourself. How is this testing me to show up as my highest self? Okay. Now, and this is the last thing I want to say before I slide on up out of here. Okay. I didn't plan to be before you long. Okay, I didn't plan to be before you long. But the last thing I want to say, family, yes, I see Destiny said, "Woo, this energy has been heavy," and it definitely has been, especially when it comes to the areas of relationships and abundance. I've been noticing a lot of people; those areas have been tested for a lot of folks recently. But the last thing I want to say before I transition out of here is I want to say, listen. This is a good time, and a very positive thing. This is a good time for you to really tap into your divination practices. This is a good time for you to really tap into, communicating with your higher self, your Ori, communicating with spirit, your ancestors, and God. This is a really good time for you to increase and elevate your prayer life, add a new spiritual practice to your life. This is a great time for that because intuition is enhanced, intuition is increased. And I told you that I was going to speak on the Lionsgate portal, which I'm going to do a whole separate video on. But on August 8th, we have the Lionsgate portal, right? Which the Lionsgate portal is basically a divine time for manifestation because Sirius or Cyrus, okay, some people say Cyrus, some people say Sirius, Orion and Earth are all in alignment, and it elevates and centers that solar energy, okay? And the sun at that time, the sun will still be in Leo. So the beautiful thing about it is and Leo is ruled by the sun. So this fiery solar energy, our sun is our divine connection, right? So it's increased intuition, increased power to manifest, and all those good things. Right now is a good time to really be tapping into spirit and asking spirit for signs, for symbols, for omens of what it is that is truly in alignment with your highest self, right? So we're talking about Venus, and we're talking about Venus being over abundance and Venus being over money and things like that, right? We're talking about manifestation and manifesting abundance and manifesting wealth and things like that. You want to be mindful that you are manifesting from a space of your Ori and not from your ego, right? From your higher self and not from your ego. Because sometimes we want to manifest things that feed our ego, which is just feeding the present moment. But when you manifest from your Ori, from your higher self, you manifest from a space of a vibration that you may not have even physically achieved yet. You're manifesting from a space of your awareness. You're manifesting from a space of your wellness, where you manifest from your Ori. So there may be things out there that you may need to manifest that you aren't even aware exist. There may be a level of energy, a level of abundance, a vibration that you may not be even be aware is there and is in alignment with you, right? For your highest self. So ask spirit, ask God, ask the universe, ask, what is it that I need to manifest? What energy do I need to embody? What do I need to become? How do I need to move? What do I need to say? How should I speak? Ask spirit for signs, for omens, okay? And pay attention. And when I say pay attention, that means that you do not move. You do not move. Pay attention is being still. And when I say being still, it doesn't mean that you're like, and this is the thing, we talk about meditation. Being still doesn't necessarily mean that you're not physically moving. Being still means you're not trying to manifest a whole bunch of other things. If your manifestation is to elevate and connect to your highest self, connect to your Ori, to move from a space of Ori, to move from a space of your highest divine self. If that's your manifestation, be still and become. Be still and become. Don't be trying to manifest the cars and the job and the houses and all the other physical things, because those things that you're trying to manifest along with that, those things are in alignment with the ego. If your goal is to align with your Ori, if your manifestation is to align with your highest self, be still and elevate. Be still and elevate. Be still and receive the omens, receive the signs. Pay attention to how the universe is conspiring in your favor, is moving in your favor. Pay attention to the messages that come into your life through other people, through what you're watching, through what you're doing, through how the universe is moving. Pay attention to the animals. Pay attention to the trees, to the sun. Pay attention to the numbers. Pay attention. Okay? And really, really, really be still and know. Be still and know. That's that residual cough I told you. I'm going to give y'all an example, and I always tell y'all this about the dreams, right? Like, pay attention to the dreams. So recently I've been having, and as I told y'all previously, with the new moon in Cancer and everything, and it was, in alignment with that, it was trining with that Neptune and Pisces. I told y'all dreams will be very intense, right? So there'll be a lot of signs and symbols that come in dreams. Last night alone, I had a dream, and in that dream, it had a date in it. Not only did it had a date, but it had two other numbers in it. And I'm not going to go in detail what the date was or the numbers was, but I'll give an example. So this is what actually happened. I was at in the dream, I was simply in a convenience store paying for something. And when I say paying for something, I mean like the cashier told me a number, and in the dream, I gave the cashier the dollar amount, and then I had a handful of coins because I was about to give the cent. And I had the exact cent that they wanted, but I gave them a coin that was higher and told them to keep the change. In the dream, I was contemplating, like, should I give him the exact or should I give more? And I chose to give more. And when I gave him the more, the few cents above, the higher coin, he turned around and went in the register and gave me back, I don't know how to describe, what some folks would call an angel number value, which was quadruple of what I gave him. And he said, because you gave me more, I'm going to give you this in return. And he gave me back that number. So there was a specific date that was told in the dream. There was two sets of numbers that are significant, and also the message in the dream where I had the choice to give the exact amount or share in abundance. And I chose to share in abundance and received in return from the same person that I was blessing, received in return way more than what I ever thought, way more than what I gave. You see what I'm saying? So that was a lesson, a message in the dream, along with those numbers and a date. Okay, so this is what I mean when I say, like, pay attention to your dreams. And as soon as I woke up, as I always tell y'all, as soon as I woke up, I wrote it down. As soon as I woke up, I wrote it down. And then I also went, because, I also went through my phone because the date was a previous date, a date in the past. And I went back in my phone to find pictures from that date. Like, what was I doing on that day? But that day actually coincides with a date that is a couple days later that is significant from a previous dream I had. So I found it interesting that, oh, wow, I just dreamed this date, which came from my aunt who transitioned. And then now I just dreamed of another date, which is, a few very close to that same date. So something is going to happen during that time period. I need to have my awareness and my antennas up. Let me write this down. So this is what I mean when I say pay attention to the spiritual communication, pay attention to the signs and to the omens. Everything matters. Everything matters. And just be still. Manifest a deeper connection to your Ori. Manifest a deeper connection to your highest self. And during that Lionsgate portal, especially that August 8th, right, that 8/8, during that Lionsgate portal, it's the supreme time to manifest. But again, it's all centering in that divine Ori energy, that divine supreme source energy, right? So really, I would heavily advise manifesting a deeper connection to your higher self. Manifest abundance coming from your highest self. Manifest any energy that is for my wellness, for my highest self. And that is what you are manifesting. So, during this time, I heavily advise that, I don't want to say be a one-note manifester, but decide what it is that you are manifesting and put all your focus and your energy toward that. And I would advise that deeply advise that you are manifesting a deeper connection to your highest self, and let it all be that. Let it all be that. So when I say be still, that's what I mean with be still. Focus in on your highest self. Focus in on manifesting a deeper connection to your Ori, a deeper connection to the divine source, whatever you may call it, God, Allah, whatever you may call the highest supreme energy, manifest a deeper connection and let all your energy be there. Focus. This is a time to focus. And don't forget what I said when I said, the battle is won when the test becomes fun. Y'all are aware. You are aware. You have a certain level of awareness of the planetary alignment. So when disagreements come up, when folks are being argumentative and disagreeable, it is up to you to choose to step into your highest self. It is up to you to choose to move from a space of ori and not from ego. So we're not arguing. We're not going back and forth with nobody during this time. As my granddaddy always say, he used to say, I ain't finna argue. During this time, we ain't finna argue with nobody. We're not about to go back and forth, but you're also not compromising your wellness. You're also not compromising your values. You're not making agreements, from a space of I'm just gonna compromise and go along to get along. This is not the time for that. Okay. And just remember that you are beautiful. Remember that you are a creative being, because Venus is also our planet of beauty, inner beauty and outer beauty. So remember that you are beautiful. If you wake up some days during this time feeling unsure, questioning your confidence, just know that that's the energy of this time, okay? Don't make any drastic decisions like shaving your head or doing any drastic changes. Don't make any decisions like that right now. Sit in your confidence, sit in your beauty. Be assured that you are well and that you are whole and that everything you need, your beauty is dwelling within and it is exuding. You are light. Listen to India Ari, I am light. That's one of my favorite songs. India Ari, I am light, I am light, I am light. Listen to that song, okay? You are beautiful. You are well. Your wellness is secure. Your wellness is your birthright. Your wellness is certain. When everything else is in question, your wellness is certain. Okay? Remember that, family. All right. I love y'all, and I will see y'all soon. Wellness community, we have a Zoom tomorrow. And the intention of our Zoom tomorrow is to discuss Venus and retrograde energy, and really just a Q&A to answer any questions that you all may have. And then next week, we have our Zoom for our book of the month, okay, Numbers and You by Lloyd Strayhorn. And I'm putting a list in the Patreon of all of the things I want y'all to calculate, okay? Like I want y'all to do your personal number, your birth, your personal year number, your destiny number, your personal month number, a variety of different things. And I also put the page numbers and stuff already, okay? I also put the page numbers already. All right, family, I love y'all, and I will see y'all soon, okay? So crystals for this time, before I go, crystals for this time, okay? Of course, a good rose quartz, a good clear quartz. Those are great crystals for this time. A good lapis lazuli as well, which is going to help with that throat chakra and easing our communication. So those are some crystals during this time. And then, of course, good herbs, and I would heavily advise spiritual bath, coconut milk, cinnamon, and lemon. Coconut milk, cinnamon, and lemon. Anything with coconut, anything with cinnamon, anything with lemon, and just smudging your home with clove. Okay, clove for purification and clove for protection. Okay, so smudge your home with clove during this time. Okay, family. So those are some crystals and some herbs. Okay, I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all soon. Okay, peace.